I'm Cassie Wang. I'm from Overland Park, Kansas, but I usually tell people like Kansas City just so it doesn't sound like I'm from a farm. Some of my identities, I think like one of the biggest ones that's important to me is like being an artist. Art's always been a big part of my life, and I think like art of like various forms because I grew up playing piano and dancing and also doing visual art. So I don't ever really see myself not doing something that isn't creative in some sort of way. Having a creative outlet is really important to me, and I think just like good for my well-being and just like what I'm interested in. I'm Asian American, Chinese American, which hasn't really been of super great importance to me until recently. Coming to college, I think I definitely explored my cultural identity more. I think growing up I pushed my parents a lot to be more Americanized, just since like you're surrounded by so many like white people. It's just like there's just such a desire to fit in to like the people around you, just so you can relate more maybe. I was born in Kansas, and then my parents, like before, maybe around one-ish or something, they sent me to China to live with my grandparents because they were working a lot and they didn't really have time to like take care of me. And my sister was in daycare and they didn't really want to put me like in daycare when I was like a baby. So they sent me to go live with my grandparents in China. So Chinese was, I think, my first language, I think. But then, you know, like they brought me back. I was there for like a year and then they brought me back and then I just lost all of it. I guess I had to learn English quickly because I was going to start like daycare and like preschool. So I just completely lost all the Chinese that I knew, which is rather unfortunate. So then they like put me back in Chinese school, but it was so hard for me to learn. And I guess I didn't really have an interest to like persist. It wasn't that important to me. Since it's been a while since I went back to China, like I hadn't really experienced what it was like interacting with my Chinese, like China residing family members in China, because like they've come to visit in the US. But yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I was thinking like if they regret, like, I haven't talked to them about this, but like I was just like thinking like how would I feel if I saw that my child had like lost so much of what like my family, like the culture of the family, and I feel like I would be a little sad that like maybe that hasn't been passed on. Actually, right now I'm making an art piece, kind of. It's like a video, it's a self-portrait video pastiche. So in it, I'm trying to talk about like the mix of like being American and Chinese. So I think this is like the first art project I'm working on that has to do with my cultural identity, which I think stems from like being so involved now, like being an aunt mentor, and just really like taking that part of my life and like making it more of a focus. So like I started with like the duality of like being Chinese and American, and so like big things about that is like the language is a really big barrier for me. It kind of because like I understand it, but like a lot of people don't understand. Like if you understand it, how can you not speak it? So that's always kind of been something in my life. That's because like understanding a language really isn't all that helpful when you can't say anything back. So like definitely trying to communicate in Chinese has been kind of like silencing for me because I can't express what I'm trying to say really. But then also another point with that matter is family and how Chinese culture like prioritizes family so much, and it's like one of like the core values. So I was kind of exploring this topic as like me feeling distant from my family. Um, I had like a lot of different visions for the pastiche than what actually came about, but I was thinking of having like a tree grow to represent like a family tree, and maybe like faces coming out of that, or like some kind of representation of the members of my family, but then they would all kind of disappear and it'd just be like one person left and just like walking, and that was kind of to represent me feeling a bit separated from my family,